This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. A wildfire has sparked the evacuation of a northwest Manitoba town. People in Leaf Rapids got word last night to get out. The notice was given after a fire crept closer to the community. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, crews are working to protect homes while residents hope for the best.
A thick plume of smoke loomed from the horizon last week just outside Leaf Rapids. Now, residents in the community of 350 people have been forced to leave due to dangers from an out-of-control wildfire. Dawn Hulkrow owns Churchill River Lodge just northeast of town. She stayed behind to protect her business and give wildfire crews a place to stay.
I know what these fires can do, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm praying that things work out.
Leaf Rapids declared a local state of emergency Monday night and issued an evacuation order. It's because the fire is burning just 8 kilometers east of town, and there was concern shifting winds would bring smoke into the community. Rick Berenson, his partner, and his dog are among those who left town.
We did have our own vehicle, so for us, we packed up what we could take, and we left just before 8 o'clock. I know that a lot of other people who don't have transportation in town, they went with school buses.
A provincial spokesperson says 292 evacuees from 125 homes have registered with the province. Others have found a place to stay with family or friends. Some residents were taken to a temporary reception center in Thompson, about 2.5 hours southeast of Leaf Rapids, before getting rooms in hotels. The fire near Leaf Rapids covers an area of more than 10,000 hectares. It started June 12th. This was what it looked like outside the Co-op gas station and food store. It wasn't as bad Tuesday, but General Manager Irvin Biggity says the town is empty except for firefighters. He's keeping the store running for them.
It's so quiet. All you hear is dogs barking, and then every driveway is empty. But to be able to help the firefighters is good.
In addition to fighting the fire, crews have been setting up pumps and sprinklers to protect homes and other buildings. Residents who left town are hoping the situation improves so they can get back home. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The City of Winnipeg is now offering free lifeguard training. The training is for new applicants or people who've partially completed the job requirements. Mayor Scott Gillingham says the pandemic interrupted training for lifeguards and swim instructors, leading to a shortage of candidates. The city says right now it has enough instructor guards, and it hopes this training helps keep it that way.
By equipping those interested in becoming instructor guards with the skills and the certification they need, we're not only addressing the lifeguard shortage, but we're also empowering individuals to play an active role in safeguarding our pools and waterways.
The training starts in August and runs for 16 weeks. The deadline to apply is July 16th, and there's room for up to 40 applicants. Help is on the way for Manitoba's understaffed healthcare system. The health minister says last winter's recruitment drive to the Philippines is leading to new hires. CBC's Ian Fraze reports.
Smiles, everyone.
Posing with flags of the Philippines, the province celebrates some new arrivals.
As of today, more than 300 acceptance letters have been received.
That's 90% of the Filipino healthcare workers who were offered jobs. They came to a recruitment drive back in the winter. Some were moved to tears at the prospect of a job.
During my time in the Philippines, I engaged with numerous nurses who aspire to fulfill their dreams here in Canada.
These recruits are registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, and healthcare aides. They'll work in 30 Manitoba communities. Once they arrive, they'll get help, their accommodations arranged, and at their new jobs, mentorship. Some recruits are expected by September. Shared Health's nursing lead is confident they'll clear immigration and licensing hurdles like passing the clinical competency exam.
We picked candidates that we believed would be successful. There were some candidates that were screened out, some who we didn't even interview because we felt they had too big of a hill to climb, as it were.
But the recruitment drive has been criticized for taking nurses from poorer countries. The Manitoba Nurses Union says some internationally trained nurses already living in Manitoba cannot get licensed here.
I think for those nurses, it's frustrating. They come to Canada, they've come to Manitoba with the intent to practice in our province and have not had the ability to register at this point.
The health minister says that's something the province is also working on. The province is hosting a virtual forum on Wednesday to answer questions from these nurses. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The country's inflation rate is showing signs of slowing down. The latest data released today by Statistics Canada shows inflation is at its lowest point in 2 years. CBC business reporter Kyle Bax has more.
Pick anything on the menu.
Last year was $17.99, and now we're at $19.99.
And it's going to cost you more this summer. And it's not just ingredients taking a bite out of his bottom line, but the rising cost of propane and supplies.
Every month they're increasing, which is really hard. I can't be paying to change my advertisement, my boards, and my systems to change it every time that inflation hits.
New numbers show inflation in May slowed to 3.4%, its lowest level in nearly 2 years. The main reason is fuel prices, down more than 18% over the last 12 months when they peaked after the invasion in Ukraine.
That's not because of any policy that's happened at home. It's because of the math of comparing this year's numbers to last year's numbers, when last year we were at the height of a major geopolitical conflict.
But despite slowing inflation, we aren't quite at the Bank of Canada's forecast of 3% by the summer. So economists say the bank could still hike interest rates again next month. Mortgage costs are already up nearly 30% in the last year, making a payment that used to be $2,000 now $2,600. Many expenses continue to soar, including food prices, up 9% in the last 12 months. That's why the Bank of Canada's decision is so hard to predict, says this expert.
We've penciled in another rate hike for July, but our view is that the window for more rate hikes is closing because we still expect a recession to begin later this year.
Burger, sausage, and a hot dog, please.
For now, businesses keep passing on their expenses.
Customers don't like change, right? And amazingly how much they notice when you, even a 50-cent increase, they notice and they will certainly complain.
While hoping the worst of inflation is over. Kyle Bax, CBC News, Calgary.
Advocates are warning a program that pays health costs for Indigenous children isn't working. The program is named after a child who died while provincial and federal bureaucrats argued over which level of government should pay for his care. It's called Jordan's Principle, and as we hear from CBC's Olivia Stefanovic, it too seems to be mired in red tape.
3, 2, take off. When Stephanie Gay's 4-year-old son Owen needed help for his autism, she turned to Jordan's Principle, a federal program that pays services for First Nations children. Higher. Instead of receiving urgent care, it took almost 10 months to hear back.
It was tough because my son wasn't getting any better in his speech. He was just at a standstill.
Because your other grades are so high.
Before Ottawa would cover her daughter's braces,
I'm writing today to request assistance with necessary orthodontic work for both of my children.
Samantha Kyle had to plead her case.
As required to pay $1,000 per child upfront.
And put down money she didn't have.
They really needed the work done. It was impacting their self-esteem. It was causing pain.
I don't think it's fair that children suffer because the federal government has a system that doesn't work.
Service providers are also hurting. Jordan's Principle said it would pay for therapy sessions delivered by this speech pathologist. That was more than 2 years ago.
Presently, the federal government owes me over $500,000.
My biggest concern is that these companies that are providing services, specialized services, go out of business because they're not being paid. The dollars weren't there.
To make sure that doesn't happen, this childcare service provider took the drastic step of taking out a revolving loan on his organization's former daycare.
And that way they can, do the job that needs to be done. The children will get the services they need, and, we'll hopefully get that money back in time for us not to lose our building.
Indigenous Services Canada says it's receiving more requests for Jordan's Principle funding than ever before, putting even more pressure on a system designed to address substandard health for First Nations children that's falling short in too many cases, with no solution in sight. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Ottawa.
The Winnipeg Jets are sending centre Pierre-Luc Dubois to Los Angeles. In exchange for the 25-year-old, the Jets will get forward Alex Iafallo, Gabriel Vilardi, and Rasmus Kupari, as well as a second-round pick in next year's draft. Dubois had told the Jets he wasn't interested in signing a new contract with the team. The city of Kenora has canceled its Canada Day fireworks. It says current hot and dry conditions and fire bans make it unsafe. The ban also includes the use of any personal fireworks on July 1st. People in Kenora are reminded that brush and grass burning, backyard fire pits, or cook stoves that use wood or charcoal are not allowed to be used right now. CBC meteorologist John Sauter joins us now. So are you tracking any storms today, John?
Yeah, you know, it's another day just like yesterday, and we've had some severe storms just west of the city. Let's get right to the maps because I'm going to start with the warning area that came out this morning. This is our thunderstorm risk map, and I posted this on Facebook earlier today. And you know what? This is pretty much where the storms are happening this afternoon. So potential today was 2 to 4 centimeter hail. That's about the size of a golf ball or so. Wind gusts over 90 and localized downpours of 50 to 70 millimeters at a time. And that is exactly what we've been seeing, say, in the Brandon area over toward Portage. There have been warnings popping up and down, and yes, some of these are tornado warnings, and there are some pictures out there online, and I couldn't get permission to use them in time for our newscast, but some funnel clouds, even a touchdown near Neepawa. That is an unconfirmed report at this time. So generally, these storms have been moving up in a northeasterly direction, but they're starting to shift to more of an easterly or southeasterly direction. So warnings have now ended around the Brandon area, popped up again, ended again. Now we have one just north of Dauphin. This is a severe thunderstorm warning at about 5:32 this afternoon. It was a storm near Portage La Prairie, actually west of Portage near McGregor, and it produced a tornado warning that lasted about a half an hour. No reports of any touchdowns, but we did see this very stationary storm dropping torrential amounts of rain. Near Brandon earlier this afternoon, Andrew Friesen, who works here at the CBC, his dad was telling him, his dad lives in Brandon, saying that it took them 15 minutes for the storm drains to drain out because cars were stuck in the street. It rained heavily for about 45 minutes. And guess what? There's another storm just west of Brandon moving in that area right now. Again, this severe storm north of Dauphin moving out over the Lake Manitoba Narrows at this time. So it's going to be that kind of evening as we head through this evening. I want to show you 3D radar because the more vertical the storm is developed, the stronger it is. If we get down really low and have a look at how tall these storms are, you can see that they must have very strong updrafts and downdrafts. Now we're looking to the east. There's Winnipeg. So off to the east and out into the Interlake area is where these storms are headed and hopefully weakening as they move in that direction. This was my forecast high. We're sitting right at it. 26 degrees right now. Here's a look at futurecast as this very weak and very slow-moving low-pressure system and the associated front continue to provide the lift needed to keep these storms going overnight. A little bit of a partly cloudy sky in the morning, a sunny afternoon, and then on into the evening, we've got a chance once again for some hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. And then again on Thursday after that, this high pressure starts to build in and clear us out as we get toward the weekend. So tonight, down to 16 degrees. Evening showers, storms in the area. There's potential for the Winnipeg area to see this as well. 18 degrees in the morning, chance of showers. Otherwise, a little bit of cloud around, and then we brighten up in the afternoon. But again, tomorrow, we're going to be looking for some evening showers or thunderstorms. Afternoon high of 26. If you're looking for my Manitoba forecast, That is on Facebook, and you can find me on Facebook at John Sauter CBC. I'll be back shortly with your 7-day forecast.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Well, today's midday showers may have forced the show indoors, but the music was still shining brightly at the Winnipeg Chinese Cultural and Community Centre. Taiko drummer and singer Phoebe Mann performed as part of the Downtown Winnipeg Biz Lunchtime concert series, and she even invited audience members to join in. Have a listen.
They're mostly Chinese songs in Cantonese dialect and some in Mandarin dialect as well. They all carry a very positive message. When I drum, it's just total bliss. Like, I don't think about anything else. The sound of drums is so primal, right? Everybody could really relate to it, even though they might not understand why it's doing something for them. Sometimes, you know, you sit there and you watch someone have fun and you kind of want to jump in, right? And so I think just to give them an opportunity to, you know, feel the drums out and almost like get out of that, you know, shyness. It's the connection between the drummer and the drums and the environment, the space, and everything else.
Coming up, we continue our Mother, Sister, Daughter series, looking at progress on the calls to action from the National MMIWG report. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News. Our series, Mother, Sister, Daughter, has been tracking progress in implementing the 231 calls for justice from the final report of the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. Today, Anna Harper shares a remote community's longtime struggle for safe access to travel. It's been nearly 25 years since her mom died in a helicopter crash and since the government pledged to build an airport on Wasagamak First Nation in northeastern Manitoba.
My name is Anna Harper, and I'm from Wasagamak, Manitoba, and that's the Island Lake area. There's no airports, but we have to use choppers. The challenges we face right now is the helicopters can't land at night, and if the weather is bad, they can't land. Sorry, it happened about 25 years now since my mom's been gone. Sorry, I'm just kind of like, I still feel like it was yesterday. My mom was she was a very, how would I say, she's very, sorry. She was very caring. She was a very beautiful woman, and she used to help people a lot. She was working at the nursing station, actually, and she was counseling the people who had problems. She was going to St. Louis Airport by chopper, by helicopter. She was going to Red Sucker to go support the people in Red Sucker because she was going to a funeral. And then 10 minutes later, I was still standing there. I was answering phones, and I heard on the TV, like we have a local TV, and then they said the chopper went down, and I didn't know what to think. We stopped, and I started running, and I was running. I didn't get to go to the crash. I ran, and then I seen some people coming towards me, and then I said, "Who's in that chopper? Who's there?" And I went to the nursing station, and they drove me to the nursing, and there were so many people. There were so many people at the nursing station already, and everybody like just made room for me. And my dad was sitting there, and my dad said, "You don't have a mom anymore." And that's what he told me. There's my mom, Bernadette Harper, Flora Harper, and the pilot. So I haven't really got over it yet, but I'm learning how to live with it. And I remember when they had the investigation came up 3 days after or 4 days after to come and see the crash, like the helicopter. And I remember there were government people there, and they told me, "We'll get you an airport soon." And that's what they told me. And that was 25 years ago. For me, well, I think I'm talking for everybody. I think the government should do what they say they're going to do, not empty promises. Right now, it's empty promises what they're doing.
There was never a formal investigation into what happened, which I think happens often, that assumptions are just made and it's normalized, that sometimes we just die a violent death and that's it.
At some point,
we need to move beyond acknowledgement and recognition, and we need to act.
Your 7-day forecast coming up. Al Friesen sent this from Brandon, and that's an example of what 45 minutes of solid heavy rain can do and some of the storms we're seeing in the area right now. So a couple new warnings, one of them near, well, just along Highway 16 near Neighbourhoods once again, where we saw the funnel cloud and possibly the touchdown earlier. And then we have this one up in the Dauphin area, actually north of Dauphin near Winnipeg, Osis. And if I was to draw a circle around that storm right there, that's the one that we're watching that is moving east out over Lake Manitoba Narrows. Severe thunderstorm warning in that one, some very heavy downpours to go along with it. So Wednesday, Thursday, still some instability around, then high pressure moves in and clears us out for the long weekend. 27 Friday, 29 on Saturday, 31 on Sunday. So Canada long weekend, Canada Day long weekend is looking a lot drier and warmer. Lego fans in Alberta have proven once again it's amazing what a toy can do.
Here's your daily lift. It took nearly 1 million Lego bricks to recreate several landmarks in downtown Edmonton. It started as a pandemic project. Creators call it a labor of love. They hope to inspire others to build their own one-of-a-kind cityscapes.
Wow. Lego's come a long way.
It'd be so great to see one of Winnipeg, but I think it would be hard to get the Human Rights Museum with the curves.
That would be a tough one, yeah.
That was the CBC Winnipeg News. We'll be back at 11. Have a great evening.
Good night.